Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me for this practice. This is going to be a beginner to intermediate level class. So we will get started with, we will have our knees together and our feet out, like this. So your heels will be in, your toes will be out, and you're gonna be leaned back. Once again, knees are touching each other, and then your feet are, your toes should be at the outside edges of your mat, and then your heels should be in. Heels are in, toes are out, knees are touching. Your hands are behind you, and your palms, if it feels comfortable for you, are facing the front of the room. So they're facing towards your fingers are facing towards your feet. We're going to start to lift our heart space, really pressing into our palms, maybe allowing our neck to fall back. Maybe pushing it back up through center and flipping your palms. Seeing how that feels. Always doing what feels good in your body. Keeping your chin parallel with the floor. Maybe opening up through your chest a little bit. Lifting your heart space. And then pushing off of your palms. Bringing your hands back through center. Coming into a seated butterfly. We're going to keep our heart space lifted as we fold just a little bit, placing our hands on the mat, yet still keeping our head space or our heart space lifted. We want to stack our heart over our hips and the crown of our head over our heart. Maybe walking your hands out a little bit further, but keeping your heart space lifted. Spreading your fingertips wide, really pushing your palms into the mat. Maybe walking your hands out a little bit further. Continuing to lift up through your chest space. So what this looks like from the front is you're in a butterfly. Your hands are in front of you, but your head space or your heart space is still lifted. Rather than folding, your heart space is lifted, maybe swaying side to side. Continuing to stay just like that. Now we'll start to slide our hands in, grabbing the outside edges of our ankles. Maybe swaying side to side, really getting a nice little grasp on your ankles, swaying to the right, swaying to the left. Now we're going to rock back onto our tailbone, lifting our ankles, lifting our gaze, really pushing up with our ankles. We'll just hold here for a few breaths. From here, our back is slightly rounded. Let's go ahead and round out our back in this posture. Tucking in our chest, or tucking in our chin to our chest. And then slowly starting to release to the mat. Let's come into an easy seat, bringing your legs to crisscross applesauce, bringing our hands behind us, threading or lacing your fingers together, opening up through your chest. And let's start to fold forward, maybe coming up on your knees slightly, placing the crown of your head on the mat, maybe coming up a little bit further. Nice and gentle with your shoulders, with your hands and your arms. Now rocking back into a seated position. Releasing your hands. Maybe starting to make circular motions with your left arm. And then reversing. Now we'll make circular motions with our right. And reverse. Perfect. Extending your legs out long. Allowing for a nice, generous bend in your knees. Keeping your feet flexed towards your face. So you don't want your feet like this. Let's flex our feet towards our face with that nice, generous bend. And then we'll forward fold towards our feet. Taking an inhale and exhaling all of that stale energy. Maybe swing side to side. Maybe rocking your head from the left to the right. Maybe using your upper body, your hands to pull your lower body a little bit further toward your knees. Remembering to allow that generous bend in your knees. Releasing your hands. And let's come into a tabletop position. So bringing our legs to the side. Bringing our knees to the mat. Stacking our hips over our knees. Our shoulders over our wrists. Spreading your fingertips nice and wide. Inhaling as you drop your belly towards the mat. Maybe rotating back and forth. Lifting your heart space. Lifting your gaze. Maybe swaying your hips side to side. Doing whatever feels good in your body here. Exhaling into a cat pose, shifting your hips forward, allowing your chin to sink towards your chest, allowing your head to hang heavy, and inhaling back into cow, and exhaling back into cat. Inhaling into cow, and exhaling into cat. Always remembering to shift your hips forward in cat and sinking your chin towards your chest. Coming back into a tabletop position. Starting to make a circular motion. Staying in that tabletop position. Starting to make a tiny little circles towards tiny little clockwise circles. And then reversing, making tiny little counterclockwise circles. Coming back through center, inhaling the palm of your left foot towards the ceiling, and we'll pulse for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Bringing the palm of your right foot towards the ceiling. And we will pulse for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great job, guys. From here, we're going to do a little toe stretch. So curling in your toes, then bringing your hips back towards your toes. Maybe keeping your hands planted on the mat. And then beginning to walk your hands in. Bringing your hands behind you, clasping your fingers, threading your fingers together, opening up through your chest, lifting your gaze, lifting your heart space, and then we'll start to bring those hands over our back and the crown of our head to the mat. Maybe pushing up onto our tippy toes a little bit. Being nice and gentle with your shoulders. Nice and easy, coming back onto your heels. Releasing your hands very gently. Inhaling your arms up high. Exhaling your arms out in front of you. Bringing your left hand under your right and your palms to touch. Beginning to lift your elbows. Feeling that deep stretch through your shoulders. Through your shoulder blades. Starting to release your hands, then crossing your right hand under your left, bringing your palms to touch, starting to lift your shoulders, bringing everything through center, lifting your heart space, staying connected to your breath. Maybe lifting your arms a little bit higher. Making sure to stack your hips under your heart and your heart under the crown of your head. Releasing your hands. Let's windshield wipe around our shoulders one more time. Making circles with our left arm and then reversing. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, making circles with our right arm. And then reversing. Perfect. Placing your hands on the mat, keeping your toes flipped, and we'll push into a downward facing dog. Spreading your fingertips wide, keeping your feet, or bringing your feet to about hip width distance apart, allowing your gaze to go behind you. Your gaze should be at the wall behind you. Even noticing in this downward facing dog that even at an angle, your hips are below your heart space and the crown of your head is above your heart space. Start to walk at our feet. Finding some stillness. Now allowing a nice little bend, really sinking your chest towards your thighs. Perfect. Walking to the front of your mat. And allowing for a really generous bend in your knees. Grabbing the backs of your ankles. Using your upper body your arms, your elbows to pull your upper body towards your lower body. Releasing your hands, coming up into a standing position. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this practice, and I will see you next time.